Welcome to the podcast. We do recover with Jared Miller, your host.
And I'm Dr. Terry Sellers, your co-host.
This is a podcast about recovery from addiction.
We want to talk about what successful recovery can look like.
Brought to you by Steps Recovery Center and the St. George Hilton Garden Inn.
All right, Sean, we live. Everything rocking and rolling? All right.
I hope you're only listening and not watching.
All right, that's ready. Well,
Otherwise, you
There you
I
go.
just messed up the whole thing.
Otherwise, you just got a view of strep throat.
Well, welcome to episode 61 of We Do Recover.
Hey, it looks good, and you guys look great.
Thank you.
All right,
Thank you.
carry on.
Ready to rock and roll. So I'm the host of this thing, Jared Miller. I'm an advanced substance use disorder counselor. I'm sitting here next to my co-host.
Dr. Terry Sellers, and I am a board-certified addiction medicine physician.
Absolutely. That's what I love about this podcast. Got a couple professional goofballs on here, but
Goofballs.
sometimes we know what we're talking about.
Well, not usually.
And we have a guest. Go ahead and introduce yourself today, Cody.
I'm Cody Martensen, and I'm from Utah County.
And thank you for coming on here, buddy.
You're welcome. Glad to be here.
Super excited. Episode 61, Part 1 is brought to you by Steps Recovery Centers, where addiction ends and healing begins. If you or a loved one need help, give them a call. You can call them at 801-8... Oh, boy.
You're okay.
I just barely blanked on that one.
You're okay. 801-800.
8142.
Yep.
Thank you. 801-800-8142. I guess when we miss a week, I get rusty. You know what I mean?
That's true. That's
Yeah,
probably
last
true.
week was Thanksgiving, so
Yeah.
here we go. We're back in the saddle.
Yes,
so
we are.
Let's just do some check-ins.
Hey, can we do me a favor?
Yeah.
If you want to get a hold of Steps Recovery Center, what's their phone number?
801-800-8142.
Okay.
It's burned back into the brain.
I
now.
just
Thank
wanted
you.
fans. I wanted fans. What? I wanted people that were listening to know what that number was in case they need it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Steps has been good to us.
Cody's got some experience with Steps, right?
I do.
Tell us a little bit about it. How'd they
About-
treat you?
I love Steps. It was amazing. Worked for them for a while. Went through there 6 years ago. Was part of their alumni committee for, 2 or 3 years. Just helped put events together and stuff. And my experience with them was just amazing. Like, did a lot of stuff. It changed my life. So couldn't be more happy with them and what they do.
Yeah, that is cool. Yeah, thanks for sharing that, man.
Yeah.
Thanks for
Super
sharing
cool.
that. All right, well, go ahead, kick us off. You know what's next.
No, I thought, what is next?
We
We usually
do
start out
check-ins.
with
We do
some
new and
things that's
goods.
called new and good.
There it is.
Is there anything, Jared Miller, in your life that is new and good?
I'm starting it off this time, huh?
Well, why not?
All right, so
You put me in charge, so I get to do what I want.
So
a
on
minute.
Wednesday we did our family work party, which was super cool. We went to the ribbon
Family
shop.
work party. Okay.
Like, you bring a loved one
I'm
to,
with you.
to the
I'm sort of with you.
work party. Okay, anyway.
My brain's a little slow today.
Whew, that
Don't
might
worry
have been a
about
little more awkward than normal, but
What was the family work? Where was it?
it was
You
at
said.
Chop House.
Oh, okay.
Ribbon Shop.
It's-
We've been there before.
What's that about?
Me, you, and Mandy. went
50
there.
yards from where we are now?
Yeah.
Oh, no, we're not. We're not at the
Delicious.
hotel. Sorry, never mind.
Delicious.
Yeah, that's a good place.
Yeah, it was really good. It was really fun. So that was super fun. And then this morning I woke up and do you know a guy named Taz Decker?
No, never heard of him.
We went and did some yoga, and then tonight we're gonna hang out and watch Utah beat the Ducks, right?
We're going to watch the Utah play the Ducks.
Yeah. So see, that's all my new and goods, guys. With that, I submit.
All
What's
right.
new and good in your world?
Well, tonight I'm going to go with a friend and watch Utah and Oregon play each other. And the truth is, as everyone knows, I'm not a Utah fan. I try not to be one of those BYU fans that's so obnoxious that they can't be tolerated, but I usually am, frankly. Yeah, exactly. And I don't know who I'm rooting for tonight yet.
You're rooting for the Ducks.
I'm not
Just get
sure.
it out of the
I'm actually
way.
not sure. There's a pretty fair chance I wind up rooting for the Utes. I don't know. I don't necessarily want the Utes to do poorly. I don't necessarily want them to do well. I don't know yet.
Sweet.
I'm going to see how the game goes and decide who I'm cheering for.
Let's get.
It's going to be fun though. I'm coming over to your house and you're going to feed me pizza. So
Let's do it. It's going down.
I'm ready for that. That's new and good for me. Cody,
Yes, sir.
you got anything new and good in your life today?
Oh, a lot.
This week particularly?
Well, last week I started walking again. I'm finally walking like that. That's new and good for me.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
So he was just born yesterday.
Yeah. Just learned how to walk.
Yeah.
Um,
Tell us about that.
just was breaking my leg.
There's
I've been-
nobody can see us. So
Yeah,
your,
so-
your friends may know, but
yeah.
most of our listeners won't know.
Yeah,
What's up with your leg?
I broke my leg September 26th, and
Tell us how that happened.
I was down in Moab, goofing off with my kids and some friends, and jumped off a cliff into some shallow water and broke my tibia and fibula.
And that's why I was so excited to have Cody come on, because he gets to talk about, like, how do you navigate that?
Wait.
You know what I mean?
I'm not a scientist doctor thingy. Isn't it like both parts of the leg?
Yeah, both bones.
Both-
Tib, fib are both
Here we
lower
go,
bones.
Yeah. The bottom parts.
Right.
Yeah.
They're,
So
they're the
that's-
2 bones in the lower leg.
Ow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Okay, just
it
checking.
hurt.
Just want to make sure.
So the point of that conversation is try not to do that.
Yeah, don't do that. I don't recommend it.
I do want our listeners to hear what you thought in your head right before you jumped off that cliff.
We're going to get to more of that. That's
We
going
are?
to be later
We got
in the
more
show.
stuff to do?
Yeah.
Okay.
And another new and good is I'm in St. George. I love it down here.
Oh, yeah.
I love the Red Rocks.
Yeah.
I wish my leg was a little bit better because I'd be hiking and going all over.
Absolutely.
You
can
can't
tell.
beat St. George in December.
You can tell he's a northern guy because he doesn't have a hoodie or a sweatshirt or anything on.
Yeah,
You know.
it feels good.
You can also tell I grew up in Florida, and I think it's still freezing outside.
At least it's not humid.
There you go.
There is that. It's not humid.
And we don't have alligators.
Mr. Denovan,
Oh, hey, what's up?
what's new and good in your world?
Well, we talked was it 2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
2 weeks
Talked about
ago.
listing my house.
Yeah, right.
Listing my lot.
Right.
So the lot's for sale, still hanging out there. But new and good, all last weekend. First off, no in-laws came to visit.
Oh, that's new and good.
And then number 2, I spent way too much time and money at Home Depot, but I've been working on my house. Neighbors I've never talked to, walking by, go, "Yay, your house looking good." So we're making an impact on the neighborhood. We got
like
a little
it.
pergola built, a little bit of painting, a little fire pit for the front yard. So
Lovely. That's
accomplishment. It's making me feel so good.
yeah.
That's
I like
awesome,
that.
man.
Let me ask you a question about, because I don't live down here. The real estate market down here is crazy. Is selling a lot as easy as selling a house down here?
I've heard that lots take longer.
I would think.
So, and we listed it just before Thanksgiving, and it's now holiday season, so who knows what.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good luck on that, man.
But right now, I mean, if I may be so blunt, we have it listed for 4 times the amount that we bought it for 3 years ago.
Wow.
And they're like, "Yeah, that's about the right price." I'm like, "Are you kidding me?
Yeah. It's insane.
It's good to have something.
400%? Are you nuts?"
Good to have something for sale right now.
I'll
not
be
trying to
greedy.
buy
I'll
something.
take the cash, but I think I don't know. Whatever.
Yeah, this podcast
Good
was
for you.
recorded in sunny St. George, Utah, where the real estate market is out of control.
Come buy my lot. It comes with architectural plans and soils
Whoa.
There you go.
That's a nice little
because I
bonus.
can't afford to build. Anyway, those are new good.
All right, good.
All right, well, back to you, Cody. So tell our listeners a little bit about yourself. Kind of, you know what I mean? What's your life look like today? Are you a dad? Are you a husband? Or do you work? You know, whatever you're comfortable
who's
with. Let's
Cody
get to know
now?
Cody.
Okay. Again, Cody, I'm from Utah County, 39 years old. I have 6 kids.
Whoa. 6.
Yeah.
Whoa.
It's pretty crazy in my addiction.
Kids.
Let me guess. Your DOC's meth.
Yes. How'd you guess it?
Wow.
You know,
Wow. Now that's just a little shot at what the different drugs of choice do. huh?
Listen, I work an honest program today. I asked him that question earlier. I'm just trying to be funny.
Oh,
Okay.
it was cute. I liked it. It's kind of true though, right?
yeah. I'm engaged to a therapist of all people. You know, yeah.
Do you really want to do that, dude?
I don't know. Some
You gotta-
days.
Hold on now. Let's
no.
pump the brakes.
No.
I'm just kidding. I'm sure she's amazing.
She's probably listening, so I better say some
let's
good
be
stuff.
kind.
Yeah.
Let's be kind to her.
No, she's amazing, and I don't know how I would do half the stuff I do without her support. And there's days I call her and I'm like, how do I do today? Like,
Yeah.
you know, and without her, like I don't know. I couldn't imagine my life
Get your
without her.
therapy for free
Yeah.
though. That's
Yeah, but
amazing.
I don't know if that's a good thing.
I don't know if it is either.
See, I'm just a substance abuse counselor, so I haven't learned to read minds yet.
Yeah.
But that's a whole nother level.
Yeah.
You know, I think when you get that therapist position, you can just read people's minds.
Wait until you become a doctor and you can tell people what they're going to think in the future.
All right,
Oh,
let's
man.
reel it in. Congratulations, dude. When
yeah.
did you get engaged?
Actually, a couple years ago. so
Well,
this,
way to jump all over it there.
a couple years ago, I asked her on Christmas, and it was cool. It was a surprise. I didn't tell her, my family, kids, nobody, and was able to do it. And in front of my kids and mom and stuff, and just surprised them. And all of them were like, "We had no idea." And I'm like, there's a reason for that, because you would tell each other, you know,
right,
and it would get out. So,
Hey, you want to marry me in 10 years?
yeah.
Come on, man. He's working out the kinks.
Let me take my shots.
Sellers.
Yeah. Well, and it was crazy. Like, life threw some curveballs at us, so we just decided, we're not in any rush. It's just, let's take care of a couple things and make sure life's smooth. And, that's both what we want. We're committed, and it'll happen when it's supposed to.
Yeah,
There you go.
So,
There you go. I'm Team Cody. Take 2 more years if you need to, Cody. There's no rush, bro.
That, by the way, is the viewpoint of a guy that's in recovery, though. Like, right? It'll happen when it's supposed to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rather than, I got to get it done now, or everything's going to. No, it's going to happen.
Yeah. Things will fall in place.
Yeah,
and
somebody's in charge, and
yeah.
when they take over and want it to happen, that's when it'll happen.
Yeah. Amen.
You never turned your will and your life over
Oh, gosh.
to a God of your understanding, did you?
Every day.
Oh, okay.
Several times a
All
day.
right. That's what that looks like.
And then I like it to take it back, So,
Don't we all?
Yeah, let me borrow that, God, for a minute.
yeah.
I need to control my own.
Let me screw this up real fast, and then I'll come back to you
I
for
got to
help.
give you some work.
let me try to force things,
Yeah.
and-
Yeah.
Got to keep God on his toes for sure.
Yeah.
Well, good. So listen, Cody, we brought you in today. I know that you got a fantastic story of recovery. You're a person in long-term recovery. How much clean time do you have?
5.5 years. My clean date's June 10th, 2016. So
Nice.
And at one point in time, you've shared with me, we've spoke, at one point in time, you did struggle with opiates
yes.
in your active addiction days.
Mm-hmm.
So then you're down in Moab this
Yeah.
September, right?
Yeah.
And you tell the story. Walk us through how do you end up in a boot sitting on a podcast on a Friday with us?
So I'm part of the committee for Addicts Fighting Back. Shout out to them.
AFB,
But
baby.
AFB.
Love them.
And Moab invited AFB down for recovery days, and I was like, let me take my kids. Let's get away for a day or two, and just go have fun. And so we were right before we were leaving. My buddy Sean was like, "Let's go check out this little waterfall." So we were a couple hours from leaving, time to go home, and we're hiking up this place, and it's beautiful. Love all the salt canyons and all. We've done Canaryville Falls and a bunch of other slot canyons, and we're hiking up there, and there's signs that say, "Don't jump." Serious injuries have occurred and will occur.
Yeah, we had a drought this year. Dude.
Yeah,
Right?
it was
water
crazy.
levels are low.
I know, and I wasn't even thinking about jumping. I was like, I'm just gonna hike around and look around. And,
Sure.
And I went across the river and slipped in and almost did the splits and pulled my grunt and so I hiked over to the other side of this little cliff, this little waterfall, and my kid and her best friend were there with us, and they were jumping. And so, after they jumped, I was like, I have to show my kids.
Challenge accepted.
Yeah, challenge accepted. I can't let my kids jump and me not jump. So jumped in and immediately knew I shouldn't have done that. Something feels funny. My leg doesn't feel normal.
Did you feel the bottom when you hit it?
Oh yeah, it felt like
man.
my left foot came forward, like up towards my shin. So
Just not normal.
no,
Something not normal.
Well, and I didn't think it was broken. I just thought I sprained it or something twisted it really good.
Did it hit twice? Your one foot, or excuse me, your left appendage, I should say. Like one part hit, and then it.
No.
And then the stub at the
and
end.
then the stub hit. Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Like the foot's over here and the stub
no,
smacks the bottom
no,
again.
no.
Oh, we just lost some listeners there.
Toes are curling.
That's
Yeah.
nice.
Oh, everybody's going, ouch.
That leads to one of my favorite sayings in life. Can I just toss this out for some wisdom?
Yeah.
There's a lot of cactus in this world. You don't have to sit on every single one of them to know the next one's going to be sharp.
Yeah.
When the sign says don't jump,
Don't jump.
injuries can and have occurred. That means somebody sat on that cactus before you and it was sharp.
But Cody's a guy like me.
But
in our active addiction, we think that stuff happens to other people,
Yeah,
right, Cody?
not us.
Never us.
And that's funny because I did think that. I was like, it'll be different for me.
Yes, we are terminally unique.
Yes.
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 So-
Thankfully, he's not terminal, but
No.
he is unique and he does have a boot on his leg.
And we're not trying to make fun of you, but, tragedy plus time equals humor,
yeah.
right?
If
So
you-
we
if-
can laugh about it.
If you can.
We are trying to make fun of him, though.
I'm not.
I'm trying to make
Cody's
fun
my
of him.
guy. Man.
I
like
don't
this
know him
guy.
very well, but I like him. And I like that he lets me make fun of him.
Yeah.
So
Just
what
this
happened with
month.
the injury then? So
Just this one.
he's gonna beat me afterwards. I'm
Yeah,
just
wait
gonna
till
get
after.
pummeled. Oh well.
So I hobbled out of the water.
Okay.
Some
You're the wait. How many adults are there?
3. And
You, Sean,
Sean,
your buddy Sean.
Kaylee, and Shantae.
Adults defined by what?
Well, that's a
Yeah,
good
true.
point.
True.
Here's the
True.
guy that ignored the sign and jumped
Yeah,
up. So
yeah.
let's not count you at least.
Yeah, I'm not. So I guess
Sean.
4 of us, but and then
Okay.
and then 4 kids, and my daughter's friend helped me, and some bystander grabbed me and like hopped out of the water, and so I sat there for a minute, and my friends were
With
up
your foot over here and your leg.
no. Luckily, it
behind
wasn't
your back.
nothing crazy. Like it could have been so much worse. It could have been poking out of the skin or
Like
I
he
could have
said, he just thought it was sprained. Everybody, calm down.
and like I could have screwed up my back. There could it could have been so much worse.
Absolutely.
And I'm very grateful that it just, of course, don't break your leg, but it could have been so much worse.
For sure. So what happens next?
So we're hopping out of the water. I'm sitting there. So I try to hobble out of there, and my foot feels dangly. Like there's motion.
You mean like it's back there somewhere?
Yeah, and you could just feel that it's like kind of loose. And so I try to use my friends as human crutches and hop out of there, and we make it maybe 100 yards. And I just lay down, and my friend's like,
And your foot's still back where you started.
yeah.
I'm not gonna be able to make it through the podcast.
I know, right?
I apologize, Cody. I'm sorry, man.
My cheeks hurt from laughing so hard.
I don't apologize.
And so my friend makes the call. Sean actually calls, and says, we need help. Luckily, we were only about 3/4 of a mile up the trail. Maybe, somewhere around there. Took search and rescue maybe an hour and a half to get to us. So it wasn't that long.
Did they call in the choppa?
No.
No?
No. I don't know that I would have. I don't want that bill.
Right. Yeah, he's a smart man.
Yeah, that's a bill.
Yeah. So search and rescue showed up, and
Some dude in a Humvee.
yeah, no, they were backpacks and
Oh, okay.
yeah,
They were on foot like you?
Yeah.
Did they help you or chastise you first?
Well, they of course.
Great question.
Yeah, they were like attentive. They came to me and like addressed my stuff and asking me questions, taking blood pressure, all that stuff.
Can you not read? Are you from a different country?
What day is it?
Signs
Type
not
stuff.
sufficient.
Yeah, asking the questions. Do you know your name? What day is it? Stuff like that. But it was really good. But the part that tripped me out was
Did they ask you about a lot of cactus in the world?
no.
No, okay.
But one of the first things they said was, "We have morphine," and I was like,
Oh,
What?
I'm thinking about hitting my head against the rocks right now.
You're talking about Dr. Sellers' DOC
That
right
actually
now.
is
Yeah.
my drug of choice,
Oh,
morphine
wow.
particularly.
"Wow."
Yeah.
And so it was just like immediately like
Sure.
slow down, and
Sure.
I think I remember
All of a
my
sudden the brain.
friend saying, "Hey, we're in recovery," like,
Ooh,
and I'm so
good to have
grateful.
a friend.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I can't remember if I said it or my fiance, my kids, or
Sure.
I think I remember hearing it a couple times. Like, we're in
Whatever. You're
recovery.
probably in shock at this point a little
Yeah,
bit. You got a broken foot.
I
Your
wasn't
body
too-
does strange things to you.
Yeah,
You might have
it's-
been in shock and not even known it.
Yeah, I don't feel like I was in shock, but
The fact that
I
you
don't know
can't
that
remember
I've-
whether it was you or a buddy, you were
Yeah,
probably a little in
I
shock.
think that's
Yeah.
the point. Yeah.
well, and I just remember being so calm,
Yeah.
and people, and I remember the paramedics asking me,
You know what that is?
Are you okay? Because
You know what that is?
Really
That's
calm.
a giant rush of endorphins.
Yeah,
Is
Yeah.
what that is.
Adrenaline.
Which, by the way, you can't release endorphins if you're on opiates.
Oh wow,
Like your brain loses that ability.
wow,
So the fact that you've been clean for a while,
yeah,
your brain's releasing these chemicals to deal with the pain,
yeah,
help you deal with the pain, which are close to opiates. I mean, they're
Yeah.
endorphins. They're sort of endogenous opiates.
He said he was calm,
which
so
is why
obviously
you're
it
calm.
worked.
Which
Yeah.
is why you're calm.
yeah. And I remember feeling a little bit of pain, but it wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
And that's
That's
and I
what
remember
it's done. That's what it's for.
Yeah, the paramedics asking me, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "Why?" They're like, "Because usually somebody that's broken their leg is freaking out,"
Yeah.
and I wasn't. I was just like, "Okay." And then they gave me some crutches. They had some crutches with them, and they're like,
sweet.
"Let's try to make it out of there." And I made it maybe 100 feet and fell over. Like, went up this little, I don't know, step in the trail and like fell over, lost my balance, and it was like, "Ow, ow."
Were your armpits burning? I hate
No,
crutches.
Well,
dude.
I
When you
don't.
first started,
Oh yeah,
too, particularly. Yeah.
not at that time because
Okay.
I hadn't used them. It was 100 feet,
Right,
you know.
right,
and,
right.
but it was, and so they came to me and said, "Let us carry you out." I said, "Okay."
Sign me up.
Of course, I was prideful, and I wanted to be tough guy and move and walk myself out of there. But at that point, I was just like,
I bet the pain had kind of started to kick in at that point. Yeah, eventually.
So how do they carry you out?
They have a huge wheel and a stretcher on the wheel. It's like off-road wheel.
Oh, wow.
And it was a pretty cool thing. And they switch off. There's probably 10 of them up there. But like four of them will carry it at a time. And one thing I noticed that was really cool was when they were carrying me out, they were telling each other like, dip, tree branches, trees on the right.
Communicating.
They've done this before.
Big rocks coming up. Yeah, it was really cool.
Practiced.
And just sat there and I folded my arms because I didn't want to get it snagged on a tree or a rock or something.
And you're praying, please don't drop me.
Yeah, yeah. And I remember at one point, like, there was water, like I felt water splash on it. So they went through the river, and it's probably the easier way to go out of the trail instead of down the side of a cliff or something. But it was a pretty cool experience. I mean,
so you go to the hospital?
Go to the hospital. That's when the whole time, no pain meds, nothing. I remember them saying when they offered me morphine, I'd say, no, I'm in recovery. Like, I want to wait. And they immediately said, well, we have ketamine. I'm like, whoa, slow down.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't know that they would offer
interesting.
that as like an alternative.
Yeah.
That is interesting.
Yeah.
It's used for animals
Yeah.
Huh.
for that
So-
same
Well, I mean,
Horse
I guess that
tranquil-
makes sense
Yeah.
because it tranquilizes you. I was just going to say. I'm glad you said it. Yeah.
And so I denied all that and went down. And I almost didn't ride in the ambulance. But I just said, you know what, I'll deal with the bill later on. Of course, I'm scared of money and stuff. The bills piling up. And rode in the ambulance, got to the hospital, and that's when the pain really started to kick in. So it had been probably about 4 hours. And I was like, holy cow, this hurts. This hurts really bad. And the doctor came in and said, well, we can give you something for the pain. I said, let me make a phone call first, and was able to call my buddy, sponsor in recovery, and said he was on the deer hunt actually.
Wow.
And it's funny because I called him and he didn't answer. He texted me and he's like, what's up? I'm on the hunt. And I said, I'm in the emergency room with a broken leg, broke my tibia and fibula, and they want to give me pain. And he called me back immediately.
Good sponsor, man.
And he was whispering like this,
because they got a buck inside.
Yeah.
We're whispering, sellers.
And he said, I just want you to know I'm in a hole waiting for an animal to come by so I can shoot it.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good guy.
I'm not in the hole, so I don't have to whisper.
We want to whisper.
No,
He's
I'm
hunting.
Yeah.
He's hunting.
Plus, I'm not a hunter, so
And mentioned to him I broke my leg and they want to give me something for the pain. And he said, take it. Quit being a tough guy. That's what the pain meds are for. That's what they're designed for, is for when people break things.
Right,
you know,
right.
Did
that
break their
did
bone.
that surprise you? That answer?
Yeah, because I thought maybe that they'd be
Don't do it. Don't
yeah,
do it. With
don't
that
do
all.
it.
Yeah.
You're tougher than this. You can do it. You can get through it. And
Well, in recovery, we
Let's not get into it yet.
okay. You're right. There's only 2 minutes. Thank you for
let's,
stopping me.
Let's, because I think that's what we want to explore in the second half.
Yeah,
is that
absolutely we do.
whole-
And his life in recovery
that
today.
whole concept. Yeah.
Yeah. What else did he give you? Any other advice? Did he give you any other, like, how do you talk somebody down who's dead set on, nope, I'm not taking it? Like, how did he do that to you?
he just mentioned, quit being this is a guy I built rapport with and I trust him. And if he's suggesting it, then I need to, I've learned to take suggestions from this guy.
Did he kind of point out the facts? Like, check it out, dude.
Yeah,
You're in an ER.
You're not drug seeking.
Oh, that's a great one.
You're not drug seeking. You broke your leg. Take the pain meds.
You legitimately, the doctor's legitimately telling you.
Critical facts.
Yeah.
You didn't go in looking for it.
Yeah.
It was suggested by a physician
Yeah.
for a condition that is acute and that you can't really control, and you sought somebody else's advice about what should I do, and somebody else also said, hey, stop being a tough guy.
Yeah.
And they're still looking for your ankle back at the lake. So
there's probably pieces of it. Oh, the little pond.
yeah.
They're going to have to find the foot to sew it back on, right?
Yeah.
Otherwise, he's going to be peg leg the rest of his life. which reminds me of a joke, but I won't tell it
Don't
here
tell.
on the.
We got 40 seconds left.
I'm not telling that joke. I'm sorry.
Okay. Okay. It's not like the jokes you were telling before we went live.
It's probably going to end up that way, so let's not do that.
Cody's going to have a whole lot of stories to tell when he goes back to
Well,
Utah County.
we're about out of time, but you're laying in an ER. Doctor's
Yeah.
saying, "Hey, here's some whatever morphine."
Yeah.
You made a phone call, and the sponsor said, "Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Don't
So
be a tough guy."
advise the doctors.
Yep.
Okay,
Great.
give me some.
That's
Okay.
awesome.
Well, we'll be right back after a quick break and a word from our sponsors, and we're going to explore some more about what you do when you got legitimate pain.
Absolutely. Here's Shalee Webb.
You are listening to We Do Recover with Jared Miller and co-hosted by Dr. Terry Sellers. We'll be right back after this short break with more of We Do Recover with Jared Miller, sponsored by Steps Recovery Center and the Hilton Garden Inn.
Hi everybody, I'm Shalee. I'm one of the clinical directors at Steps Recovery Center. At Steps, we really want to focus on the individual and not just the person in addiction. We want to have the ability to help from the time you enter and till the time you finish, whether you need healing from trauma or family issues and concerns. We got you covered from the start of your journey to the end of your journey. We're just here to help when you're ready for us to help you.
We welcome you back to We Do Recover with Jared Miller, co-hosted by Dr. Terry Sellers. Brought to you by Steps Recovery Center and the St. George Hilton Garden Inn. And now with part 2 of our podcast, Jared Miller and Dr. Terry Sellers.
Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. We're going to get back to Codys Story. He's laying in an emergency room with a broken leg. But before we do that, we want to mention quickly a couple of our sponsors. The first is Hilton Garden Inn. Hilton Garden Inn has been a longtime sponsor for us. They treat us quite well. If any of you are ever in southern Utah, give them a Google search. Just type in Hilton Garden Inn. They have amazing amenities. They take great care of people. Their staff is so friendly. I, for some reason, always mention the pool because I think the pool's awesome. And I should bring my grandkids and our producer swimming the breaststroke over there. So,
Or if you just want to plan a vacation, come to southern Utah. Come to my city.
yeah.
Yeah,
It's
come
amazing.
say hi to me.
Now's a great time to have a vacation in southern Utah because you're freezing up there.
Absolutely. Come check out southern Utah.
All right,
Stay
well-
at the Hilton.
Well,
They're
give them a
awesome.
shot. Give them a shot at your business. They do a great job. And then we have another sponsor.
Guess where Cody's staying tonight?
The Hilton Garden Inn would be my guess.
Love those guys.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Me
It's
too.
nice.
I'll be there with you.
Nice.
So Cody, tell me, are you familiar with Recovery Strong?
No, I've seen him on Facebook and some social media stuff, and not that's about it though.
I love it. They're all about fighting addiction, strengthening recovery. And Sean's got their website pulled up right here. It's recoverystrong.com. If you go there, you click on the apparel, or I think it's called gear on their website. There's a little gift card, right? They got hoodies, they got hats, they got T-shirts. If you type in promotion code, We Do Recover 15, We Do Recover 15, then it saves you 15% off your entire cart. Your entire cart on checkout.
Purchase.
Sorry guys, my brain is not firing on all cylinders today. So go check them out. Recovery Strong. Have the conversation, right? Wear your recovery with pride.
I have a quick question about that.
About what?
If you type in recovery 15, you save 15%. What happens if you type in recovery 100?
Nothing. It's We Do Recover 15.
Oh, yeah. We
it's
do
linked
recover.
to this
Not recovery,
podcast.
sorry. We do
Right.
recover 15.
Yeah.
Can we type in we do recover 100 though?
No, I won't do
Nothing happens?
anything. Mm-mm.
It'll 100% kick you off the site.
Yeah. There's no back end code finding for that.
All right. I tried.
So, how's that Dr. Pepper?
Oh, man.
They're
So
not
good.
a sponsor,
I
but
thought
it's
you
okay,
were.
free
I
advertisement.
thought you were going to start speaking,
You're
which
all
is
right.
why I took a swig of my
We're
Dr.
good.
Pepper.
We're golden. So, Cody.
Yes, sir.
All right, talk to me, Goose. So
So-
here's the picture I want to paint for everybody. Cody has 5 years
Yes.
in recovery, right? He breaks his leg. He's struggling with the idea of do I accept the opiates? Do I not accept the opiates? Why wouldn't you? What was the fear behind it?
It's a good question. I like that.
Just feeding the demons,
I actually
did.
hate when people refer to it as demons because it reminds me of the moral theory, but I could
Yeah.
go off on a tangent on that, so I won't.
No, I get that. But for me, like,
Awakening the disease.
yeah, when I was in my darkest, like, I swear I was a demon. So
Yeah,
that's why
hey.
I refer to.
The behaviors kind of look like it, don't
yeah,
they?
they do.
Yeah.
And so that's what I was scared of, being hooked. You know, I was actually enrolled at Utah Valley University at the time. So what does that look like? You know, things were going good for me. And it's so just all those fears.
It gets easier after a while, doesn't it? Like, if you've been clean of opiates or whatever your drug of choice is for some period of time, 5.5 years,
Yeah.
the truth is, staying clean is not as difficult as it was that first week or that first month or even that first year. It gets easier, and one of the things that would scare me, I think, I haven't had the occasion to need opiates yet.
Yeah.
One of the things that would scare me would be, do I now go right back to the beginning where it's hard again, where I've got to pay so close attention to it every single day? I don't. It's not that much work anymore for me.
Yeah. Yeah. You do the 10 or 20 minutes in the morning.
Right.
And then
Do yourself a
you're
little
good. Yeah.
do yourself a little morning thing and try to stay in contact with another addict and stay in contact with God. That's what I do.
Yeah.
So what I kind of hear, Cody, is you're saying that if we're talking the 5 stages of change, right? Pre-contemplation, contemplation, preparation, action, maintenance. You're in maintenance.
Yeah.
And you're worried that you're going to slip all the way back into one of
Yeah.
those earlier stages of
Yeah.
change.
And just before I came out of my addiction, it was pretty bad.
Yeah.
So I remember that gift of desperation is just as vivid today
Good.
as when I first got clean. That first week or that first month, you know.
Probably a big reason why you got 5 years is because it's
Yeah.
so vivid and you can remember
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
And I have kids at home, so it's just, how is this going to affect them if I slip? Like, what's going to happen?
Yeah.
You know, just all those
And so you're
scenarios.
sitting there, maybe considering this to be a potential slip.
Yeah.
All right, let's explore that for a
Well,
second.
and it was crazy to me because when they gave me the meds in the emergency room, it was like, before I even got to the car to go home,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't feel them anymore. Like, I didn't feel.
Interesting.
It was, and I remember thinking to myself, like, why did I take them? Because I'm
Interesting.
still in pain. It didn't work. It didn't last very long.
So
I just remember thinking that.
I'm actually glad that you brought that up. Let me ask a question to the doc. Okay. So Dr. Sellers, luckily we have a doctor on this podcast. Isn't there a huge difference between taking it as prescribed? Like, we all have this fear that we're just going to take like a Percocet 5 and all of a sudden we're going to be back to, abusing heroin the next day. Like, talk to me about the difference between taking it as prescribed versus abusing it, because I think that's a lot of the fear that Cody, me, myself, all of us opiate guys worry about.
No, that's legitimate. Like, but the truth is, every one of us, when we started, didn't start shooting 2 grams of heroin that first day, right? We all started with a pain pill, or we all started with maybe heroin. Some people start with heroin, but they don't start with a gram.
Yeah.
Right.
And they start with a point. And so I think that, yeah, you're right. There's a difference between taking it as prescribed and abusing it. But you're just so worried that taking it as prescribed is going to reignite that flame inside your brain.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's the thing. So, right, taking it as prescribed though is the crux of being able to use strong pain relievers in recovery.
Without getting yourself
you have
in
to
too deep.
take it as prescribed.
Right.
And I think we want to get into some of this other stuff in a minute, but let's say they send you home with a bottle of pain pills, and this is a topic we want to explore, I think,
Yeah, absolutely.
during this time. If they send you home with a bottle of 20 Lortab, the bottle's going to say, take 1 pill every 4 hours as needed, or whatever it says. I mean, the instructions might be slightly different than that, but it's going to say something like that. I'm not very good at that.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not good at it at all. I want to take them all now. I'll suffer later,
I was never great at it.
but
either.
I want them now.
How about
I
you,
want
Cody?
my pain
Yeah.
relief now.
In the past, I was never good at it.
Right.
And this time it scared me.
Did they send you home with any?
They did.
Yeah, you had a
I
broken leg.
Yeah. Yeah. And I had an appointment a couple days later. Another gift of recovery is I posted that I broke my leg on Facebook or something. And a friend working at the orthopedic department at Utah Valley Hospital messaged me, and she says, "This is the best doctor. Go see him. Don't go see these two, but go
Who'd you
see
see? Who'd you see?
Dr. Barker."
Oh, I don't know
he's
Barker.
he's
He
out
must
of
be newer than
Utah Valley.
Yeah.
But he
That's
was
cool, though.
Yeah, it was amazing.
That's
So
awesome.
it was like, is this my higher power saying, hey, this is where to go and this is what to do.
Sure.
So I was able to call and get an appointment 2 days later.
Who'd she tell you not to see? I'm kidding.
I'm not
Don't go there. Don't go there.
We're not doing that.
No,
We're not
I
gonna
don't
do
even
that.
know if
That's
I
cool
remember.
though, man, because
She'll
that
get
just
that.
goes to show, like, really, at the end of the day, the social piece is so huge, right? Having
Yeah.
people, having that positive support system, that's such a big piece.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and
That's
it
awesome.
it worked out. And then I went and saw him, and they were like, "It's too swollen. We can't do surgery. And if I cut you open, I'm not going to be able to sew
Right,
you back up."
right.
So
Let me ask you this. Was there any fear before you sent out that post on whatever social media platform it was on? I don't remember. Did you say Facebook?
yeah,
Did you fear that people would know that you were on pain meds and somehow think that you'd
Start
relapsed?
judging you. Yeah.
Did that narrative go through your mind at all?
Not at all.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
good.
Wasn't worried about that.
Good.
What? Did you have any safeguards in place when you took that bottle of pain pills home? Like, what did you do with those?
I
How'd
talked to
that
my
work?
mom. I talked to my kids. I talked. My fiance was with me.
Okay.
Sponsor, and on the way home, like 3 or 4 friends had called me.
Sweet.
I think from the Facebook post, and I think my sponsor called me and said, "This is what we
Oh,
do."
Beautiful.
You know, this. He called me.
What was
my
some of that
number.
advice that he
Okay,
said,
so-
this is what we do?
So wait, I want to point out a key before
Okay,
you go to
yeah.
that. Answer that, but
Okay.
transparency.
Oh,
That's,
yeah.
that's the big key
Yeah.
right there. Just
Yeah.
He
you're,
did a,
you're telling everybody. You're putting it
Yeah.
on social media.
Yeah.
There's no secrets here.
we call
Yeah,
that telling
no,
on yourself, right,
yeah.
Doc?
Yep.
You gotta
No
tell on
secrets here.
yourself.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Well, and he says, "I'm going to call you several times a day."
Okay.
There's going to be people. If it's not me, it's going to be somebody else. So, and this is what we do for our friends in
support
recovery.
system.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Accountability, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Did you ever consider okay, so I talked about on one of these podcasts, I talked about I need no surgery, right?
Yeah.
Because I have a deviated septum. And one of the things that I talked to my
You're
wife
wearing-
about,
You're wearing makeup and you need no surgery
Oh, my gosh.
now?
one of the things I talked to my wife about is, hey, check it out. When I get the surgery, because I'm
Yeah.
going to have to get it, I'm going to have you pick up the pain meds,
yeah.
or have you keep them, have you distribute them to me. Was there any kind of that safeguarding going on?
One thing that was successful for my first year in recovery, I had my gallbladder removed,
Okay.
and they gave me pain meds, and I gave them to a friend.
So
and,
you'd done
and,
that.
and I took them way less than prescribed, and by the second or third day, I started having thoughts like, "Oh, 2 was nice. How about 4?" And so I told my friend to get rid of them. I said, "Get rid of them. I don't need them anymore," because it had been the 3rd day, and I was like, if the pain's somewhat bearable,
and the
then-
cravings are coming back.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I had that experience early in recovery, the first year, and then so now going into this, I thought, I can be successful. So thank goodness I went through that, and I was successful. But I even remember
So you had control of your own pain pills.
yes, I
You
did
had
this
them
time.
yourself. Okay.
Yeah, because my mom lived down the road, and kids were going to school, and there wasn't anybody around, to distribute them when
But
they
the
needed them.
critical part of that is everybody knows you have them.
Yes, everybody knows.
Everybody
checks on
in
me.
your life knows you have
Yes,
that.
yes.
that
There's
bottle
not
of
one
pain
person
pills.
that doesn't know.
Right. And if all of a sudden you decide you need an extra bottle of pain pills, there's
Yeah.
50 people that know
Yeah.
that you're going to have to go back to the doctor
Yeah.
and get that.
That's another thing that I think it was my sponsor. My sponsor said we don't get refills.
Refills, no
you
refills.
know?
Right.
And when I went to the doctor and they scheduled the surgery out for like another 6 days,
Mhm.
and they'd given me more pain pills. I told everybody immediately, "Hey, I got a refill. I don't know if I should have," but they're like, "No, we got to get you to surgery."
Right.
And one thing that was really new to me was the doctor said, "You need to take them because if your body's in a constant state of pain, it doesn't heal right."
But let me just point out the difference. You're waiting for surgery,
Yeah,
right? It's not like you rolled your ankle and went and you got a
Yeah.
script and so now you're getting refills.
yeah,
Like it was basically let's keep you moving along just until we can get you in surgery.
yeah.
Right.
And then after surgery, they gave me some, and it was new to me. I'd never heard that before. That he says, I suggest you take them. One of the first things I said when I met with the doctor was, "I'm in recovery. Pain pills scare me.
Right.
I don't want to be on them. I don't want to take them." And he just said, if your body's in that constant state of pain,
Beautiful.
your body doesn't heal right.
Why is that,
Beautiful.
Doc?
I think that's a critical point. Is one of the things that we're afraid of. Well, I'll answer your question and then I'll get back to my point. But but the point is, we release all kinds of stuff in our brains when we're in pain and tense and yeah. I mean, just what they tell you to do when you've got an injury. The first thing is rest, right? ice,
compress,
all these things that are
elevate.
sort of.
Elevate.
And if your brain's on constant alert because you're in such severe pain that you just don't get any rest at all, and you can't. I mean, it's just not going to heal as well.
Yeah.
That's not healthy. That's not something we're supposed to experience. So, but one of the critical things that I think you did that people struggle with a little bit, and I get why. We've talked on this podcast before about how sometimes how doctors have received and dealt with people who are addicts, and how sometimes you get a lot of judgment from a doctor when you reveal that you're an addict, and unjustly.
Yeah.
You immediately told the doctor, I'm in recovery. Both times it sounds like.
Yeah.
You told the doctor. Now, people are afraid to do that.
Yeah.
I think it's critical that we do, but I understand why people are afraid to do it too, because one of the points that I would love to come out in this podcast right now is, as addicts, we don't have to suffer. We're not meant, just because we had an addiction to whatever it may have been, even if it was pain pills, we don't have to suffer through the rest of our lives when a bone is sticking out or when you've got 2 cracked bones in your lower leg. We don't have to do that. That's not what we're called to do at all.
Yeah.
I think
We're
that's
called not to abuse drugs, but we don't have to not.
Yeah,
we don't have to suffer.
I think that's a great reason to have Cody come on the podcast, right? Like that's a big message. Is you're a great example of what to do.
Right.
Like you walked
you can
through
do
it.
You just have to set it up correctly.
Absolutely, and he's kind of telling us exactly. You don't have to suffer, but you also are responsible to keep yourself safe.
Yeah.
So talk to me about post-surgery.
Yeah.
Did you go through withdrawals?
Let me
We only
say
got
one
10
more-
minutes left.
Let me
so
say
let's
one
move.
more thing about this real quick, though.
Okay.
The doctor thing, because this is my this is my field, right? If you reveal to a doctor that you're in recovery, and because of that he decides not to treat your pain, go get another opinion, please, guys.
Great point.
If you're in severe pain and it's really severe pain and you're not drug seeking, and a doctor treats you like an addict because he has some judgment on addicts, go get another opinion.
Well, and
Find a doctor who won't treat you that way.
I remember when I was talking to the doctor and asking him, hey, is there going to be any, I felt like I was drug seeking. And I just
That
was,
judgment all comes from within you.
Yeah. And I was like, okay, get rid of that.
Yeah.
Like,
That's cool that you can
Don't
note
judge
that, though.
yourself.
I
either.
need to voice what I need, and voice what I'm going through. But I remember that judgment coming up, like, you seem like you're drug seeking. And I tell him that, hey, I don't want to seem like I'm drug seeking because I'm not. I just don't want to be in constant pain.
Yeah, again, being totally transparent, which is
Yeah.
beautiful. That's awesome. So how do you walk through that? How did you make it to the other side? Did you go through withdrawals? Like, what did that look like for you?
I don't. So I was probably on him about 2 weeks.
Okay.
Took him as prescribed.
Okay.
And I remember having thoughts like, "Oh, this feels good."
Of course.
Two's always better.
Yeah.
Four's
Well,
better than
and one of the things my sponsor recommended was we flushed the last one.
that. Oh, interesting.
And I was like, "Why do we do that? To show that we still have a little bit of control over our addiction. To show
like
to give your disease or the
Interesting.
addiction the bird.
Really
Like,
interesting.
like screw you."
That's
It's like
really
a mental
interesting.
thing, right? Yeah, I
Yeah.
love it, dude.
It's
And-
kind of interesting, yeah.
And so I got to that point, and I remember waking up one morning, and usually when I slept, I'd wake up and it was in pain,
Yeah, sure.
and it had been a long time,
Right.
And I remember there was 2 left,
Oh, geez.
and I took the last one, and I called my sponsor. I
Did
said,
you panic?
No, not at that point.
Okay.
I was like, this is what I got to do.
Okay.
Like, this is the suggestion, and I have to do this. So I called my sponsor, and I said, there's 1 left. I said, I'm going to flush it right now. And he's like, hey, let me hear it. And I flushed it, and he's like, hey, good. And immediately it was, I can get a refill. The thoughts started coming.
Sure, yep.
And we laughed and stuff, and he's like, are you going to be okay? I'm
So
like,
you
"Yeah."
told him that. You
Yeah.
told him the thoughts.
I voiced that thought, yeah.
That's
and
awesome, dude.
I learned in my
Great.
recovery to anything that's spinning in my head, get it out of my head, like voice it.
Oh, yeah.
How stupid it is, how crazy it sounds, just get it out, and it worked for me, Another thing that I want to point on is the recovery community in Utah. Every day I had 20 plus phone calls, texts
Wow.
of people just saying, how are you? What do you need? Do the kids need anything? What's going on? And there were some days where I was sick of answering the phone. I was just, but I answered it because I love my support network, and, I'd be doing the same thing, calling them 100 times, saying, are you okay? What do you need? But I think it got me through it,
That's the thing that I absolutely
I like
love
that.
about recovery, man, is oftentimes our families don't really understand this, and we can kind of get, you know what I mean? Like, so we really do our best to stand behind each other and support each other. Yeah, that's beautiful. Thank you.
Yeah, it was amazing, and I just remember feeling so much gratitude for the people that checked on me constantly, and all the text and Facebook messages and everything. Just, are you okay? What do you need? And most of the time, I was just sitting there. I couldn't do much. I couldn't, I had to stay off my foot. I was just waiting. So it kind of also kept me busy.
Sure.
Sure. Instead of, I didn't have much time to sit in my head, so it was good.
I was trying to think of something profound to say, and I know in the basic text it talks about how
Good
families.
luck with that.
I know in the basic text it talks about how families often don't understand it. They
Yeah.
won't even believe us when we first start getting clean that we are clean.
Yeah.
But we lean on each other and we support each other, and we can find camaraderie in the rooms, right, and in the community.
The rooms become our family, and
Right. That's what I was trying to get out.
Yeah, and they just, they know what it's like. They know what
And they
it's
understand.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like
No
when you
judgment.
say that you're craving or you want to take 2 instead of 1.
Yeah.
Like I remember early in recovery, if I ever told my wife I was craving, she would sometimes panic.
Yeah.
That's not what I need you to do right now. I
Yeah.
don't need you to panic. I'm not telling you I'm craving because I'm going to go use. The reason I told you
Yeah.
is because I don't want to use.
Great
Yeah.
point.
I learned very early to call my friends and say, hey, I want to stick a needle in my arm and I want to punch somebody in the face. And they would laugh and say, let's go get some food. And
But think about like
They get it.
to somebody, to a normie, that sounds insane.
Yeah.
Like sometimes I worry, like this gets put on the radio, right? Sean
Yeah.
puts this on the radio. And like sometimes when somebody says something like, well, if I'm prescribed 1 and 2 sounds great, and then the next day 4 sounds better, and we all laugh,
Yeah.
because we understand
yeah,
that mindset,
we've
right?
been there.
But like not everybody understands that. But the key to it is it's almost like Dr. Sellers is saying, when we talk about it, when we can laugh about it, when we get it out, it releases that obsession to go do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why we do it. That's why we bring that up. That's why you're transparent in the beginning and all throughout the process, is it gives some of that power away.
Yeah.
So did you feel the withdrawals?
So the first night, it was pretty rough. I think I'd slept like an hour. But
Do you think that was from pain? Or do you think that was from your brain spinning?
I think both. The pain wasn't really too bad. Ibuprofen did amazing.
Okay.
And I was taking ibuprofen and Tylenol in between, and it just, I think it was from the pain pill because I'd been on them for 2 weeks.
So did you have a little bit of pause, post-acute withdrawal symptoms? In other words, were you a little bit more on edge than normal?
Yeah, I was irritable.
Did you had sweats,
my
hard time
family.
sleeping.
Yeah.
I won't go through all of them, but those are some
Yeah.
basics.
Not during it, but the next couple days after I stopped.
Okay.
But by the second or third day, I was pretty much back. It wasn't too bad.
Right.
I wasn't abusing them. I was taking them as prescribed, and then they were gone. And whatever. And I'd been through earlier in my disease, pain pill.
10
withdrawal.
times that worse.
Yeah, 10 times.
Typically, I'm going to just rephrase it a little bit just because the technicality of typically, if you don't use opiates for a long period of time, you're not really going to have post-acute withdrawal because the physiological process in the brain from post-acute withdrawal is the rewiring of the brain that has to go back to normal that became abnormal when you used opiates for such a long period of time. So acute withdrawal is sort of what you experience when you use opiates for a week or 2.
Yeah.
So it's acute, not post-acute.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So
I
that's
appreciate you
sort of the
correcting me.
withdrawal symptoms, right? I mean, that's what withdrawal really is. Post-acute happens when because you became so tolerant to it, you down-regulated a bunch of opiate receptors in your brain. Your brain has to start
dependency.
producing those again. And that's the part that takes a long time, but it also takes a long time to get to where you would need that to happen.
Okay.
You got to use opiates for a couple of months for that to be necessary.
So, Cody, we got 3 minutes left, and I want to give you the floor, man. What does your life in recovery look like today, dude?
It's amazing. Like, I love life today. Every day I wake up is a gift. There's times I should have been dead or in prison. I could go on and on about crazy stories and the gift of my recovery and the gift of my life. I'm so grateful to be here. I heard a saying early in recovery, just because there's movement doesn't mean there's momentum. And so that really hit home to me when I was early in recovery. So today I make whatever movement I do count. Am I spending the time with my kids? Am I checking in with them? Doing recovery, giving back, being of service, doing a lot of stuff. I carry meetings into some rehabs and stuff and just give back, like give what was so freely given to me. I was at UVU, started getting behind because I broke my leg. and I decided to withdraw. You know, and a lot of people are like, "Oh, why'd you do that? Why'd you do that?" You know, that's what I felt I needed to do. You know, prayed about it, meditated about it, and that's the feeling I got.
You ever get any pushback when somebody says, "Why'd you withdraw?" and you say, "God told me so"?
Yeah.
Nobody will ever push back. Nobody will ever push back against that.
Yeah. So, but I learned too is take a step back. You know what? Who cares what's going on? If you need to take a step back and withdraw and slow down, do it. But I also think that this was my higher power maybe slowing me down, saying, "Hey, you're doing too much. You're going to take a break for a minute." You know, so I've been through enough in my crazy life and in my recovery that my higher power gives me exactly what I need, you know, and everything happens for a reason. So
the viewpoint of somebody who's been in recovery for a little while, because the viewpoint of somebody who hasn't is, "Oh, why me? Why did I have to break my leg?
Yeah.
You find meaning in it.
Yeah.
You find actual good meaning out of something bad that happened to you.
Yeah.
So true.
Maybe God's trying to slow me down.
Yeah. Instead of being the victim, you really look at it from a victor perspective, right?
Yeah.
Find the good things instead of the bad things.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah.
Well, this has been fun, hasn't it?
This has been fun.
Yeah.
Cody,
Listen,
this has
what a
flown
great
by.
example.
I know. I can't believe it's over already.
What a great example
we had
you are to
yeah.
everybody out there, though,
Yeah.
of ways to do things that we have to sometimes face in recovery.
Yeah.
There's ways to do those things correctly, and when you do, you come out on the other side, and you're fine.
And biggest thing I've learned is there's an army of people willing to help. I just have to be willing to open my mouth.
I think that's the biggest thing that you had to say too. Is guys, rely on people. There's a bunch of people out there willing to help out. Let them do it.
And if one person says no, man, keep talking. Keep telling people what you need.
Right.
You know.
Absolutely. Yep, absolutely.
Let them do it.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I really
Glad to
appreciate
be
you,
here.
Cody. You're a stud, dude. I hope we stay in contact.
Yeah.
Hope we become friends, bro. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
That was big.
All right, guys, like this, comment, share. It always helps when you share, and ask a friend to check it out.
Thank you for joining us today on We Do Recover with Jared Miller.
Help us spread our message of hope. Like, comment, and share.
If you have any topics or ideas for future shows, please share that on our Facebook page.
That Facebook page is We Do Recover with Jared Miller. If you or a loved one needs help, please reach out to us. Again, thank you for listening.
Brought to you by Steps Recovery Center and the St. George Hilton Garden Inn. This has been a production from a podcast studio.